Hey guys, make sure you are subscribed to our channel and turn on notifications so you know all of our latest posts, and follow us on Twitter and TikTok to come chat some wrestling with us and see clips from our latest videos and podcasts. But now, let's get into the video. Yo, what's going on guys? C2 Wrestling back, Smackdown wrapped up. We are just over a week away from Bash in Berlin, and the card is pretty much taken shape. Two main matches from SmackDown now confirmed. We'd wondered if LA Knight would defend his title. Now we know he will, but we know there is a WWE Championship match. Before we get into LA Knight in the United States Championship, we'll hit on the main event. Do you like the story for Cody and Owens? It is a little basic.
It's a little basic. I do want to briefly say just about Bash in Berlin. Over the last couple days, all these haters online complaining about a four-match card. Oh, four matches. Oh my God, it's not enough wrestling. Cry about it. They added two more matches to the card. We figured something else was getting added. Let's be realistic here, guys. I didn't think we are getting a 10-match card. 5, 6 matches, 7 matches. It's a solid card. I don't see what people are complaining about. As I say that, I'm going to complain a little bit about Cody and Owens, where it's just a little basic, exactly like you just said. Nothing really to complain about besides it being just like a typical two friends are, struggling along to, coexist as one is champion and the one guy is the bait and turn heel, and they're showing signs of it left and right. And it's just a standard story, nothing too crazy to go into. I will say just tonight's episode of SmackDown that just ended, Cody and Owens go over A-Town Down Under, who are fantastic, by the way. Owens at the end, they showed a little replay, and at the end, Owens has the title in the ring, and he's looking at the title, and he runs up like he's going to hit Cody, but then he hands it to him, and he looks over the rope, and he's taunting A-Town Down Under. And I just got to say, I hate that. I hated it. I hate that little segment. I can't stand it. It's so, I don't know.
I thought you were about to be like, well done.
I don't know. Something like, man, I understand the storytelling. I get it. It just like, maybe the way it cut was a little weird. Like the way they came off the replay, like it seemed almost so set up. Like Cody knew Owens was there type thing. I don't know. I hated the way they portrayed the like run into the hit Cody with the belt and hand it to him. I was not a fan of that. I thought it was a little corny, but I get what they're trying to get across with it. I just think they're going a little over the top with the like borderline heel face thing. I don't know. What are your thoughts on it?
Well, that's what I was going to bring up and almost ask you in a question. They are like hammering home the teases. Like it is at the point like, all right, we get that you're like purposely overdoing it. Like it is quite obvious. But it's now at the point where it makes me feel like Owens actually isn't going to turn. Like it felt quite obvious. All right, Owens is going to turn, yada yada. Like we expected with Styles. Like we knew that promo he's going to turn. Now like they are so heavy in pushing it that it's like I'm not actually sure if he's going to. And I do think if he does, you're almost making your champion look like an absolute idiot. Like this is the dangers in doing the story like this. I think you can have one of his close friends turn on him and it be normal, or someone he respects turn on him, like Styles, where it's like, okay, maybe he could have thought they were going to have a respectable promo with each other. This, like, they are hammering it home so much that if he doesn't see it and has his blinders up and Owens turns, it's like, wow, your face of the company is the biggest moron that he didn't expect this.
Yeah, I just like my thing with the whole heel turn is if he turns heel, what do you do? Like Owens heel is better, don't get me wrong. But what do you do? Like, is he gonna face Cody again? He's probably not gonna win the belt. I just don't know the direction of Kevin Owens right now and where they're quite going with him. I don't really know how they turn him heel too. Like Kevin Owens, and again, this is just a standard storyline, like we said, but he's done the attack from behind after a match, a handful of times. Like it would just be very typical, something we've seen a bunch if they have Cody retain and then Owens attacks him or something. I do agree. I'm almost more so leaning that he doesn't turn at this point because it's been pushed so heavily. Maybe something happens that maybe turns him heel, but separates Cody and Owens. He's maybe not really heel with Cody. I don't really know. Again, the direction on Cody seems pretty obvious right now. They're keeping the title on him. Maybe there's not some massive long term, but clearly some bloodline involvement still will happen down the road. Rock, obviously, there's a future story there for Cody. But for Owens, I don't really know where they're going. So I'm open. I'm interested. I want to see how this turns out next week in Berlin. But I'm a little indifferent right now. I'm not necessarily loving it. It's just, again, we say this word, it's filler. And filler is so okay sometimes, but you got to do something big after this, I guess. You can't just put a filler after a filler, rivalry. So we'll see where it goes.
I do think we're getting Cody Solo again after this. We had
Mm-hmm.
Solo's promo where he said he's got next. I hope it's not a smack dab copy where, okay, we get Solo Cody at Bad Blood because now Roman's been written off. He'll be off for a few weeks. And then Roman comes back at Bad Blood and, helps, I put in quotes, Cody, but, taking out Solo. I hope it's not basically the same exact thing we got at SummerSlam, just in a little bit different fashion. But it does make me think that we are now leaning towards no turn from Owens. This match is essentially a one off. And then Cody faces Solo in Atlanta, his hometown, defending the title again, which they're kind of in the spot right now where, I mean, when Roman hasn't been on SmackDown, Raw is like pretty clearly better than SmackDown from top to
Mm-hmm.
bottom. If we're going with Cody Solo again, especially with Orton going after Gunther, it really does feel like, oh, you're frozen. You there? Oh, there you
Oh,
go.
I gotcha. Yep, we're
Yeah,
back.
there you go. We're good.
C2
Um,
Wrestling returned.
yeah, we'll leave it in. It does feel like you're at the point with Cody. It's like, who does he face? Like the amount of
Mm-hmm.
options almost feel kind of thin.
Mm-hmm.
And not saying that like I wouldn't love Cody to face an up and comer like Carmelo or something like that. Like that would be great, but it's a matter of making sense. So the options kind of feel thin, and it feels like we are veering towards he either faces Owens a couple times or it's a one off against Owens and then he faces Solo again.
Yeah, I think the solo is an easy one. I think we are, leading towards a Orton feud again at some point to maybe fill in some gap before Mania. I mean, that's very well a Mania match, Orton versus Cody. But again, there's a lot of bloodline stuff still on the table. So there isn't much maybe for Cody right now outside of those guys, though. The lineup is a little thin. Even A Town Down Under, great, love them. A theory title match as a contender would be great to see. He doesn't need to win the belt. That's a good matchup. But I just don't, need it necessarily. It's not some massive thing I must see that fits right now. So it's a bit interesting. I really don't know where they're going. I guess this is just like a filler match for Cody, which and it is what it is. It's probably not going to main event. You got Gunther in Berlin. So we might not even get something big. Maybe there is no heel turn. Maybe it is just a standard Cody wins. Maybe they shake hands. Maybe they don't. And maybe we move on. Maybe Kevin Owens has a whole new avenue after this.
Yeah, I think that match honestly opens up the pay-per-view.
Mm,
That would
I
be
agree.
that would be my guess, but
Mm-hmm.
again, it's going to be probably a similar thing next week, more teasing of it, but we'll move on to the United States Championship. LA Knight and Santos, fantastic match tonight.
Mm-hmm.
If you didn't see it, you just saw the result, go back and watch it. Another solid match, just carbon copy like example of Triple H era getting title matches on weekly TV shows, them getting, 15 or so minutes and just being a very good and enjoyable match and the crowd being into it. Later on, LA Knight announces an open challenge in Berlin. You mentioned people were complaining about the amount of matches. We always knew it was going to be around 6 matches.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't feel like it's something thrown together. I feel like this is kind of the safe way of doing it. You very well could have had, you know, LA Knight Santos happen at Berlin, but instead we get it on SmackDown next week. We have Andrade versus Carmelo, so you assume neither of them are going to
Mm-hmm.
answer the open challenge. It feels like there's an obvious name, right?
Yeah, I have three names. I came up with three names, one being the most obvious, but I came up with three names that would reasonably accept this open challenge. I will start just by saying that I love the open challenge. I think it's great. You can't do an open challenge at every show, every pay per view. Some guys, they've used it as a gimmick for a little bit and it works, but the open challenge here works in Berlin because has been an open challenge in a while. So it fits the show. It's something good to put on the card. Obviously, we'll touch on the obvious name. It seems like it's written in stone that Ludwig Kaiser answers this open challenge. Obviously, he's a raw talent. We've been on record saying we like the brand split staying as separate as it can. There's moments where it works. This is a moment where it works. Ludwig Kaiser, hometown, massive heel, answering the call. Doesn't have to win. Probably won't win. Could. Would be cool to see. In all honesty, it's just something so random. But I obviously think LA is getting a little bit of a run here, so I think LA retains against whoever answers. But he's the heel. The heel in the hometown doesn't have to win either. In Ludwig Kaiser, I think that would be fantastic. Honestly, he's somebody that, being that it is Germany, I really wanted him on the card.
Me too. And I'll throw another name out there of another Raw superstar that might be in your three.
Mm-hmm.
It would be cool for Ilya to
Yes.
answer it. I mean, he is built, I believe he was born in Russia but grew up in Germany.
Mm-hmm.
It would be very cool, but again, it goes towards he's going to lose the match most likely.
Yeah.
So, do you even want to have him? It's the same thing when we did our podcast talking about the Intercontinental title tournament. Is it even worth it having someone like that in it if they're going to lose rather than them just not being on at all?
Mm-hmm.
If Ludwig answers and loses, it's completely fine. It's going to be a great
Yep.
match. Like, it doesn't really hurt him credibility wise. He pretty much stays at the exact spot that he's in.
Yeah, I think even just getting Ludwig in this match is maybe opportunity to continue something with Sheamus too. Maybe there's some involvement there. Ilya is an interesting name. He was actually not a part of my three. Ludwig being the obvious name. Just other names that came to mind. Hasn't been on TV for a while. They have faced already. Do you rehash the AJ Styles feud? Is AJ Styles going to answer this
Mm.
open challenge? Maybe. Obviously there's no Germany connection there, which is why Ludwig is such an easy answer. The third name, I don't know if you had thought about this name, but we might get Giovanni Vinci. That's an
Okay.
interesting one. That is, it ties into a point. I would like to think he's a heel. That seems to be the gimmick. Giovanni Vinci as a heel. I think that would be actually great. I would almost like that just as much as Kaiser. If I had to choose one, I do want to go with Kaiser just because, again, I got to see him on the card. I had said in one of our previous videos I wanted him versus Sheamus on this card just to get him out there. So get him on TV. But Giovanni Vinci is another answer, another good one.
The last name, I do like that. That was out of the box, and
Mm-hmm.
that's, not something that's impossible. There is one last name that I want to touch on, and it goes towards LA Knight is the face in the match.
Mm-hmm.
Someone guaranteed booze. We would assume most people are going to expect a Ludwig or maybe an Ilya because of where they are from.
Mm-hmm.
So that would make me think the crowd is going to assume that and kind of be ready for that. And almost where if it's not someone like that, they're going to get booed. And someone who's going to get booed, maybe this is where we get the rematch with Logan Paul.
Yeah, I mean that's very well possible. Actually, I didn't really consider that, but wouldn't surprise me. I guess they would just have to, and WWE has been pretty good at this over the last few years. They really just have to hide getting Logan Paul there, getting him into the arena and whatnot. But they could do it. Wouldn't surprise me. Don't need it, to be
Of course
honest.
not, but
Yeah,
I don't need it either.
but they put on, honestly, in ring wise, arguably the best match at SummerSlam. They actually, I maybe not the best match, but the most impressive, maybe most improved match. That match had my lowest standards at SummerSlam and probably gave me the highest reward out of it. So I'm for it. Another Logan LA match should be a banger, but I don't know. That didn't even really come to mind. I guess Logan answering that call could be an option. They did kind of hint at some future feuding, so that's good. That's a good one.
Yeah, I know he was. I remember seeing online that he was either scheduled for or it was planned that I believe he's going to be in Saudi. And
Hmm.
I don't remember if Berlin was on the list or not. Again, that feels like almost if they wanted LA Knight to get the huge reaction and someone to get booed like crazy. It almost feels like if it's not Ludwig, if it's not Ilya, you got to just go a complete 180 and someone that's going to get booed so bad out of the
Hmm.
building. LA Knight's obviously the face anyway. That he feels like the answer almost like that. That's
Yeah,
that's why my mind went to that as like if it's not one of the Raw guys, it's going to be Logan to get booed out of the building.
yeah. Logan really, he might get boos like Styles did, chants and cheers in France. Like Logan might get booed out of that building like no one ever could. So that is a great one. Again, I think a lot of these international shows are really just about like iconic moments in history, wrestling history, things you could look back on, play back in time. And, that Styles entrance is, the Bad Bunny entrance is. How do you get something at Berlin to be replayable? You got some great moments at Clash of the Castle too. I think there's some opportunity here with Berlin. And Ludwig is a great one, surprise, but he's a current guy on the roster. It's around, it's typical. Logan's a little bit of a surprise. In a good way, I think that would generally generate a lot of views for WWE, social media, everything. I think that's almost hard for them to turn down if Logan is available for Berlin.
Yeah, especially thinking Ludwig potentially is going to be with Gunther for the main event,
Mm-hmm.
you know, introduce him, whatever they may do. So Ludwig's going to be on the screen at some point somehow.
For
So
sure.
kind of a wouldn't be surprised type prediction. But I guess the good news is we'll probably know more on Monday and
Mm-hmm.
next Friday because if Ludwig is has an Intercontinental Championship tournament match on Monday and wins, he's probably not going to be answering the Open Challenge, on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
So at least we'll get our answers probably soon or get more questions.
Yeah, and you know what? Speaking of soon, we got a lot coming at you. A lot of videos on the way soon. A lot more content coming at you soon. It's just a matter of wrestling. We're watching Monday Night Raw, Tuesday Night NXT, SmackDown, All In's coming around. We got AEW as well, TNA events. We're watching, reacting, commenting, listening, reviewing anything we can, anything we can get to. We're having a ball doing this. We want you guys to like our videos, subscribe down below, comment, interact. We got a little trouble right now with a certain social media.
TikTok, change it.
Change it. Just I won't let us upload, so bear with us there. We're having some trouble with TikTok, but still give us a follow on that app. Give us a follow on Twitter. We love to hear from you guys. I'm Chris.
I'm Chris.
C2 Wrestling, baby.
Catch you guys next time.